Welcome back. It has been a quiet but exciting last couple of months, and now it is February 5th today, and I decided it would be a good time to go ahead and try and get my seed room cleaned up and prepped for this upcoming garden season. Now, my seed room is not just a seed room, it is also our catch-all room and guest bedroom all in one. So there was a lot going on in here when I went upstairs today. I decided to try and get the clutter and things taken care of so I could then focus on getting all of my seed equipment put in place and organized and ready to go. There is a very tiny closet, which you will see a better angle in just a little bit, but there's a very tiny closet that we have up here, and we have a bunch of totes with our Christmas decorations, ornaments, extra gift boxes, some childhood memory type things, and it is like a game of Tetris, trying to get everything put in place and at least put in a place where it doesn't fall. So I emptied most of it out because I needed almost every single bin or box that was in there to put some of the clutter away, and then I had to strategically put it all back. Some exciting news that happened over the last couple months is I am now engaged. So this house is a rental house that my fiance and I live in, and we've been here, it'll be 3 years this summer. So over those 3 years, we have accumulated things, we have brought things with us. We are at times running out of space, but I have tackled one project. I was able to get most of the clutter put away and back in that closet. I was working with getting all of my cables and cords straightened out because I need those for the lights that are on my seed shelf. And now it's time to tackle this whole other corner of the room. I have this filing cabinet that's filled with extra art supplies and just kind of some crafty things. And there's a bunch of piles of different paperwork and what have you that need to be put away. So I took time to sort through all of that, get everything filed away, put away, dusted off, cleaned out. And now the whole reason that we are up here, I get to put my seed shelves together. Well, they already are put together, but I had to get all of my seed trays put out. Last year was the first year that I had started my own seeds, so I invested in some seeding squares, trays, and humidity domes through the Bootstrap Farmer, which I found on Amazon. They were a bit of an investment, and somehow I ended up with double the trays, double the seeding squares, but probably one pack of the humidity domes. After using them last year, later in the garden season, late last summer, I ended up buying the larger, I think they're 4x4 or 6x6 squares, seeding squares, and I thought those were a lot easier to use than the ones that I had bought through the Bootstrap Farmer. They were really just like tiny little plugs, and it was just way easier to use the bigger squares, so I decided to fill my trays with those squares to try and get a better idea of how many of one thing I could plant, and I think it'll be easier when it comes time to planting to transplant them from these pots to the ground. I untangled all of my cords and got those all set up, so there is an extension cord running from the outlet near the door all the way over to the shelving unit, and you can see my lights that I have up there. I went ahead, plugged everything in, tested them, the lights still work, which is great, and so my setup is pretty much ready to go. I think I want to try a few more varieties of things this year, so the next big step will be buying all of my soil when it comes time to start my seeds, along with the new seeds. I also wanted to document the plan that I have for this year's garden. So this year I did something a little bit different. Last year I had used some graph paper and tried to kind of chart things out, but this year I wanted to use the Freeform app on my iPad, so I went ahead and did that. I uploaded all of the pictures that I wanted to use for reference and or counting how many of something I might have. Like here I'm counting up all of the pots that I have stored up in our garage right now. Our garage is a whole nother mess. Don't even get me started on that. But I really liked using the Freeform app. You can add in little decals and stickers, change up your font, your drawing tools, the colors, the thickness, everything. It worked out really, really well for what I decided to use it for. So I went ahead and just kind of did the rough estimation of how many pots I might have and took a look at my reference pictures to try and figure out where I might place them, what I might put in those said pots. Our patio was really lush and green last summer. It was just like my own little sanctuary, sitting out on our patio furniture, surrounded by all of the plants that I grew, the plants that were there, just hearing the birds, hanging out with the dog. It's just a really peaceful place to sit. And this year I wanted to maybe make it a little bit more, utilize more of the space. So I thought about getting a tall trellis that would kind of act as a makeshift kind of privacy fence right along the road. Not right along the road, but facing the road there. And I thought maybe I could put some beans on that. I would add more pots and planters in and around so it could be extra full and lush and green and just be my own little garden jungle. A goal for this year's garden season is to try and have more of a patio garden. Not that I won't plant anything in ground down at the main garden still, because there are definitely things that will do better down there than they will on the patio. But I want to have more on the patio. It's a lot easier to check on things, harvest things, water. We do have a really long hose that gets me all the way down to the main garden, but it would be a lot closer and easier to keep things watered and keep things maintained up here. I did buy myself an off-brand Apple Pencil to use specifically for writing to plan all of this out. I do use it for other things. Apple Pencils are great. The off-brand ones, even better. But I went ahead and I used the pencil to kind of write out all of my thoughts and ideas. Not that you can't put text boxes and type things out in here. I just like handwriting a lot better. I will say I did struggle a little bit trying to find good reference pictures that were my own. Obviously, I can't take a picture of a random garden and plan it out. I needed it to be my own pictures to kind of edit and come up with ideas off of. So another thing I want to try and do this garden season is not that I haven't taken many pictures, but I want to take them from different angles and try and keep track of my thoughts and inspirations throughout the season and document them ahead of time, so when I come to plan next year's garden, I will be a step ahead of the game. This is the photo that I used last year that I kind of sketched out to try and plan out the garden. This is down at the main garden. I just had notes for what I wanted on the patio on this paper. But I took a picture of the paper and put it in here, so I was able to kind of edit and plan things out in that sort of a way. I definitely still plan to use this area, as I mentioned. I just want to do some different things down here now that I've had a bit more experience and had a couple garden seasons down in the main garden. I have a better idea of where I want to try things to make it more efficient and practical and just have it all make sense for me. If you saw what I had going on last year down in the garden, you might remember the cucumbers and how somehow or for whatever reason they all kind of turned orange. I still was able to harvest many, but I definitely am switching my seed varieties this year for my cucumbers. But in that same area, I plan to put quite a few other trailing or big bushy plants. And I'm super excited to see what that looks like. I think it'll be really good ground cover in some spots, and it will just be a really good use of my space because the ground down there in that specific area, it it wasn't really worked up, it gets super weedy, so I figure I'll let something trail over it and it'll be a heck of a lot easier to deal with. The biggest thing I want to change with my raised bed this year is getting some sort of a protection from the birds and the squirrels, because I had a lot of issues last year, but not the year before. Getting all of these things planned and prepped has definitely gotten me excited for what's to come this year, and I hope you'll stick around and enjoy some time in the garden with me. Thanks for watching.